What's up, everybody? We are here in New York City. I'm Tim Gettys. This is Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Yep. How's it going, Tim?
Oh, it's going so well.
It's going real
we just
good.
spent the entire day, for the very first time, playing the Nintendo Switch 2.
Yeah, we did.
And how are you feeling right now?
Oh, I'm feeling so good. It's been such a great day, right? We got to play a lot of games that we're going to talk about over the course of many different episodes of Gamescast, right? Little small mini episodes. But I'm just feeling overall good. It's a new era.
Yeah.
Tim.
There was an energy today that it's very rare to get, and it was very exciting to see other people getting our hands on new hardware that is new but familiar, you know?
Yes.
And I think there's a lot of pros there. Some cons, I will say. We'll get into all of that. Like you're saying, we're going to do a bunch of different little games cast of some of the games that we've played. This episode's going to be about our hardware impressions, whether it's the Pro Controller that we extensively got to use, the Joy-Con 2s that we used both as traditional Joy-Cons, kind of nunchuck style, but then also in mouse mode. And that's also going to include the camera that we got to play with a little bit. And what am I missing anything there?
I mean, the handheld mode.
And then just the Switch
actual
2
Switch
itself,
2.
how the screen looks and all that stuff. We got to play a whole bunch of games. So we'll have a lot of experience with the hardware, with the hands-on. So I kind of just want to start off with top-level impressions of holding the Switch 2 for the first time.
Yeah, honestly, this is where I think it might get the most uninteresting, because holding the Switch 2 hardware for the first time, it feels like the Switch 1, but slightly better and bigger and sleeker, right? Like, it's all the things, it's all the little tiny improvements that you want out of a Switch 2 iteration that very much feels like an iteration, not necessarily an innovation. And so that's kind of my take on it. I'm with you of like, man, an OLED would have been such a slam dunk for this thing, and I think it really could have made it pop. It still looks good, right? It still feels good, and I'm expecting that in the future. But Tim, what do you think?
I mean, there's a lot to break down here in a very nerdy way, in a very Tim's being annoying way, but also in just like a general way. General way, you're nailing it. I think this is very much, hey, it's the Switch again, but just better in pretty much every way. The one way it's not, OLED. Having said that, as the biggest OLED stickler in the world, I was very worried about this LCD screen. It's great.
Yeah.
I was saying going into this, like, if it's not going to be OLED, I want a PlayStation Portal equivalent screen. And in my experience so far, we're getting that. The HDR is really good. Really, really good.
Yeah.
I got to play a lot of Mario Kart World, and they're taking advantage of it, really showing it off. The colors look great. The black levels are awesome. Like, again, it's not OLED, and every time I turn my Switch OLED on, it hits me with this level of like, oh, this looks good. I wasn't getting that, but very, very impressed. And like, I gotta say, like, honestly, the most important thing Tim Gettys can say about this, I am not painfully upset that OLED's not gonna be here. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
It'll be a special treat for you in a few years.
Yeah, but even then, like, of course I'm gonna want that and need it, and maybe more experience will tell me otherwise. But so far, I'm like, this is fine. Yeah. It's more than fine. This is great.
It's good. Yeah, honestly, yeah. Like, I think for me, the thing that popped was playing Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition, right? Where you can see the upgrade, you can see how much better the game looks, and playing in a handheld mode, it feels like a more premium Switch, which is, again, all I really want from the thing, right? I think it's going to get more interesting as we talk about the other pieces of hardware, as we talk about the Pro Controller and the new Joy-Cons. I think that's where things get really more interesting.
I want to jump in there. You're saying it feels like a more premium Switch.
Yeah.
I don't know that I agree.
Really?
Because here's the problem. The screen itself, right? The OLED felt like such a premium.
Yeah.
To me here, it's like everything I just said feels, I'll put on the same level because it is bigger. The HDR is very, very nice. 120 frames per second. All of that stuff I think adds up to pros and cons, but I'll give it kind of equal in screen quality. But I was pretty disappointed with how the Joy-Cons felt. And how the buttons felt.
Is it that they felt the same? Because they feel exactly the same.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't think it feels premium. It definitely lacked a level, like seeing, okay, we're going to get bigger Joy-Cons. And I'm not just talking about the button size. Like, when I clicked the trigger, the shoulder buttons, it feels exactly like the Switch 1, and that's not a compliment.
Yeah, no, I feel that. I guess that for me, that was what I was expecting coming into this thing, right? Even as we're seeing the mouse functionality, I was like, all right, well, I guess you're going to want to keep the clicky nature of it because that's where you're going for here. But I totally agree as far as, the Joy-Cons feel the same. There's some new stuff in there as far as features, right? But as far as game feel, the analog's the same, the buttons are the same, right? You're getting kind of the same thing. A little bigger.
Which,
a little bit bigger.
I think the analog sticks specifically, way bigger. Like they feel way better, I would say. Face buttons slightly bigger, like not that noticeable.
Yeah.
I will say that outside of the handheld mode, when we're just playing with the Joy-Con separated, the few experiences that I had doing that, I was very impressed with just the Joy-Cons themselves. The size of them, when you're just with a single Joy-Con, it feels way better to me. Maybe it's just the size of my hand. I don't know. I liked it a lot better than the Joy-Con one. Anytime you're playing with a single one, that always felt very chintzy, very little kid. Like, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
The bigger SR and SL buttons on the top of the Joy-Con also go a very long way. But to me, it's more just like when the total package, where how I'm going to play the Switch the most besides docked is handheld with these things. And unfortunately, I think I'm still going to be looking for third-party options.
Oh, wow.
HD Rumble 2, though.
Ooh,
great.
Yeah.
Real great.
Yeah, I think that's what we're talking about, right? Like, the details there. One of the games we played was Drag in Drive.
Yes, Drag and Drive. So I think the big thing to focus on here, let's move on to mouse mode.
Yeah. Brand new feature we got here, right? Drag and Drive focuses specifically on the mouse mode, right? You are using two Joy-Cons as mice, two different mice that you're playing with at the same time. And essentially you're making the motion as if you're kind of in like this wheelchair, right? And you are pushing yourself forward. And with that, one, I want to acknowledge the accuracy of it. I really liked how precise it feels as you're using it. We got to play Metroid Prime 4 as well, which we'll talk about in another video, but that's another one where the mouse feels very precise. But playing Drag and Drive, right, you have that, and it feels right as you're pushing yourself. If you push with one Joy-Con, you moved one way. If you push with the other Joy-Con, you move the other way, right? It's like you're moving one wheel at a time. But yeah, the motion of doing it, for me, felt fun. I really enjoyed that. But then you want to talk about the HD Rumble, and in there, as you're pushing your wheels forward, there's like these clicks that you're feeling, this feedback that you're feeling that I think it really drives it home. You know, I'm somebody, when we talk about HD Rumble, I'm kind of like, okay, cool, it's another feature, but it really does make a difference in experiences like this, where it is, oh, wow, you really are conveying the feeling of pushing a wheel forward.
I am a big believer in HD Rumble.
Yeah.
I am a big believer in the DualSense and the haptics that it has and the way that it uses its vibrations and rumbles in enhancing the overall experience. And over the years, it's been cool to see kind of innovations in that space. This Joy-Con 2 feels substantially better than the Joy-Con 1 in terms of the rumble, and I think this game was a great example of that. But the mouse mode, I'm very interested in it because it's a mixed bag for me. Playing Dragon, I'm never going to remember the name of this game. Drag and Drive. Drag and Drive.
It's funny because when you start off, I think you're talking about dragons, and I'm like, no, you're talking about the Drag and Drive game.
Yeah, exactly. With that one, I feel like that it's the fun gimmick, right? Of going through the just the motion controls and playing this game in a very specific way that is only for this game. And cool, we can talk about the actual game in a different video. But in terms of how the mouse used, I'm with you, so accurate, like surprisingly accurate.
Yeah.
It really kind of like worked the way it was supposed to. And then playing Metroid Prime with the mouse mode was kind of awesome. Because
I'm very curious. I want to hear more about you talking about Metroid Prime with the mouse mode, because I also have things to say. But before we talk about it, let's get a word from our sponsors.
This episode's brought to you by Lost Skies. What would you do if you woke up and the world around you was now floating high in the clouds? Lost Skies is the new open-world survival-like that puts the power of exploration and choice in your hands. Use the physics-based grappling hook, glider, and your own custom airship to traverse the remains of this fractured world and uncover its mysteries. You and up to 5 friends will harness the power of ancient technology to survive the hostile islands that scatter the horizon and the threats that lurk in the sky itself. The battles are intense, so it's up to you to build a skyship to shelter you in fierce storms and take the battle to gigantic monsters. Want to take a break from fighting in the skies? Use the intuitive island creator and share your builds with the community. Head over to Steam and Wishlist Lost Skies today and discover what's lurking beyond the horizon. This episode's brought to you by Monaco 2. Gather your crew, plan your heist, and let the chaos unfold in Monaco 2. Return to Monaco, a city teeming with excellent scores and gullible marks ripe for getting parted from their prized possessions. Go it alone or tackle heists as a team of 4 with online and local co-op. Just remember, even the best laid plans can blow up in your face, so you'll have to stay on your toes. Monaco 2 is the sequel to the cult classic Monaco. What's yours is mine that expands on every aspect of the game. New characters bring unique abilities and playstyles to help you escape the heat. And with new modes and procedurally generated levels, every run is full of surprises. The heist is on when Monaco 2 arrives on Steam, Xbox, and PlayStation on April 10th. Y'all know how important it is to wishlist these games. It helps the developers so much, so please wishlist Lost Skies and Monaco 2. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. You sign up for something, forget about it after the trial period ends, and then you're charged month after month after month. The subscriptions are there, but you're not using them. In fact, 85% of people have at least one paid subscription going unused each month. Thanks to Rocket Money, you can see all of your subscriptions in one place and cancel the ones you're not using anymore, and save more money. Rocket Money has helped multiple members of Kind of Funny learn that they're still paying for things they totally didn't even realize. You know who I'm talking about. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny today. That's rocketmoney.com/kindoffunny.
All right, so continue with the mouse conversation because very different implementation between Drag and Drive and Metroid Prime 4. Metroid Prime 4 is very seamless, where it works the way you'd think, where your left hand is now your analog, and then now your right hand, you're aiming with the cursor or with the mouse.
Yeah.
And we're playing in 120 frames per second, and God, that felt good. And it was a very PC-like experience.
Yes.
Like moving the mouse around, it was awesome. There was a boss fight we did in Metroid Prime, and I kind of tried to default to using I tried to use the mouse mode majority for that.
Yeah.
And over time I found myself defaulting to using the mouse mode for the boss fight, which is kind of cool. Very impressed with the accuracy of it. Very impressed with how seamless it is. Impressed with the fact that it's not a thing you need to just go turn on. You just turn the Joy-Con and it is there.
That's
you
the
can
coolest
switch
part
back
about
and
it.
forth between using the analog and then using the mouse.
Yeah, as I was playing Metroid Prime 4, I looked at the person I was demoing with, and I was like, all right, like if I wanted to play just Joy-Cons, is there like a setting I go to? And it's like, no, just lift it up and start playing. And I did it. I was like, wow, that's a really cool transition.
Really cool. Having said that, totally broke my brain.
Broke my brain as well.
And I could not get used to switching back and forth. You have to stick to one and just know it because I was like in mouse mode still trying to use the analog.
Yes, that's the problem. Well, not the problem, but I guess the thing that you are going to have to adjust to is that you are still using buttons on the Joy-Con, at least for Metroid Prime 4, as you're playing it in mouse mode. And so you are pressing certain buttons to jump, you're pressing certain buttons to lock on, do whatever, while you're in mouse mode. So you almost think about it as if you're on PC playing a mouse and keyboard, like if you had side buttons on your mouse, essentially.
Yeah.
And I'm not used to playing that way.
Nope.
And so like that took some getting used to. And then I was like, let me try Joy-Con. And then it has like does it have like a slightly different control scheme when you're just holding it up? Because it felt like it. Maybe it's
I think it's just
Joy-Con.
tricking us. That's the thing. It's just you get so used to it. I think the button placement was the same, but it was weird when it was in mouse mode. Now here's the thing. Like, I'm kind of all over the place with the mouse stuff because it's very accurate. It works really well. It worked great in Metroid Prime, and I think it worked very well in a gimmicky way in Drag and Drive. And like, hey, gameplay surrounding that. That's awesome. But it sucked using it as a mouse. Give me a mouse. I want a mouse. This feels like you're using something that's not supposed to be a mouse as a mouse. It is a Joy-Con turned sideways. Grab a Joy-Con from the Nintendo Switch 1, put it on its side, and try to just move it around in like what you're clicking with. They're not a left click, right click. It's like, it just feels like it's trying to use something for something that we are all intimately familiar with how it's supposed to feel, specifically in gaming. So do you agree with that?
I agree in the sense that it doesn't feel as good as an actual mouse, right? Like using the Joy-Con makes me want to just plug in an actual mouse to my dock and just play that way. I will say it reminds me a little bit of how it felt when I first picked up a Switch 1 and I started playing with the Joy-Cons, and I was like, oh, I don't know if this feels as good as a DualShock, right? Or an Xbox controller. And then my mind gets used to it, and then it just becomes second nature of like, okay, no, the Joy-Cons feel fine. I could see myself getting to that point with the Joy-Cons as a mouse where I'm like, all right, no, but it feels fine. Like now that I'm used to doing it. But you're right. Like, off this first impression, it does feel odd. It does feel like it's not made to do this, even though like they were able to make it so that it could do this. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I do expect we might get like a specific mouse accessory. And if this is successful and they commit to this bit, which I kind of feel like they're going to. Like this, it feels well implemented. It just doesn't feel perfect in terms of feel to me. And I don't think I'm going to be alone on that, right? Because I do think that a lot of the people that be interested in the precision of a mouse want a real mouse, not like a weird toy that kind of works well enough. You know?
Now, in talking about hardware, I think one of the things to shout out and talk about would be how certain games ran fidelity-wise, right? We got our hands on so many games, right? But one of the third-party ones that I was so fascinated about was Cyberpunk 2077, and I hopped into that. Well, first off, I watched other people play it from a distance, and I was very impressed by just seeing how that game looks on screen. Like, it looks like Cyberpunk 2077, and that is a game that has just a lot of things going on visually when you want to talk about design and, like, you know, it's in an open world, but like there's so much going on stylistically in that game. Getting my hands on it, I think the biggest compliment I can give it coming out of that demo is that it is perfectly recommendable. Like, that is I would play Cyberpunk 2077 this way, right? And like, that's to say that it doesn't look as great as it would on PlayStation 5. It doesn't look as great as it would on a high-end PC, but like, when I think about when I play third-party games on the Switch sometimes, right, it's that thing of, ooh, no, this does not look good. Like, I'm not going to play this way. I'm not doing this, right? I think the trade-off of having this version of Cyberpunk be portable and handheld, right, like, it looks like it would, I imagine, on a Steam Deck, but you're not paying for a Steam Deck and a high-end PC to be able to, you know, get that full experience, right? Like, you have the portable experience and the on-screen experience through the Switch too, and it looks good enough, right? I think the dings I would give it would be that the frame rate isn't there, right? Like, it is running it, just eyeing it, not knowing for sure, I would say like 30 frames per second, right? It's not the smoothest, but when I'm standing still and I'm just looking around, I'm like, oh, this game looks great.
And that's the thing is I feel like we saw so many games with different variations of focusing on frame rate or focusing on resolution. And I was overall very impressed with most of them. Some I was just like, oh, I want to see this in the other mode. I want to see this like in a different way than they were showing it. But I do think that specifically Metroid Prime in 120 FPS in 1080, I was like pretty blown away by. And we didn't get to see the 4K version. I'm excited for that. But they're saying it's 4K 60. Very happy with that. Tears of the Kingdom, or I guess just Tears.
Tears of the Kingdom we saw,
looked great, right?
I think Roger was telling us that Yakuza wasn't necessarily up to par.
Yeah, I was very excited to try out Yakuza Director's Edition.
Yakuza
I didn't get,
Zero.
Yakuza Zero Director's Cut. It did not look good. The person that was there was talking up like, man, this might be the best way to play this game. It looks gorgeous, and it looks worse than the Steam Deck version of it. Like, running around the world, the polygon. It just looked very like low quality, like maybe like a 1080p, 720p like upscaled like type deal. Like, you felt the upscaling while you're running around the town, and that just kind of sucks because that's an old game. That's a game that I expect to run really well. We have Kiwami 1, which is in the same engine, already on Switch, and it looks pretty good. So yeah, that was just a random one. It was like, oh, why is this even here? You know what I mean? Like, if you're showing off like the power of the Switch, like, this shouldn't be here necessarily.
And I think Metroid Prime 4 is an example of like, if you make a game for the Switch 2, that shit's gonna shine because that game looked fantastic on the Switch 2. But yeah, maybe
made for Switch 1.
Which that's actually a good point.
But
but then you're like, you know, you're uprising as opposed to like, you know, trying to take Yakuza 0 and like, you know, form fit into this. But yeah, like, I was very impressed overall, I think, by the third party offerings.
That's the thing is, you know, what Roger's saying, I feel is very true. Having said that, I think that this is the closest we've been to the Switch to a Nintendo console being a viable option as your sole console. Early to say that, but I do think that for people that can't own multiple things and want the portability and want a plethora of third-party games and big exclusives, like, this reminds me of kind of the best of every world we've had of Nintendo, from GameCube to the Wii, to the Wii U, to Switch on, together between first-party support, third-party support, and all of that. And I'm saying that from a like hardware perspective, right? Like, it just seems like it really works. There's more hardware stuff I want to get to. Like the Pro Controller.
Oh, we haven't talked about the Pro Controller.
Yeah.
I like how it feels. It feels like slightly different from the OG Pro Controller that we had with the Switch 1. There's like a sleeker material on the back.
It has like a satin feel to it. The whole thing.
Smooth.
Yeah.
I like holding it.
Different colors on the top. The back buttons being embedded in it, I think, is great. They felt so good.
I love how the back buttons are, the back paddles, right? Like, they're just part of like the I guess like kind of on the handle on the controller.
Don't get in the way.
Don't get in the way, and also feel
nice.
My big complaint with back paddles usually is almost like I gotta kind of reconfigure how I'm used to holding a controller. Not with this one.
Yeah.
Like it's right there, right?
Yeah.
I maybe accidentally pressed it a couple times, but I think once my brain figured it out, I was like, okay, cool. This works perfectly. I can't wait to actually like program this and have it on my own.
We played with the camera a little bit.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts with that?
I think it was an unfortunate environment because the lighting was just all over the place.
There was a giant red light shining down on us that was definitely messing with the camera, like reading us. And also Roger was filming us play, and like it was kind of catching him.
It was
every
all
once in a
over the
while.
place,
It
right?
was kind of chaotic.
Yeah.
But I was kind of into it what it was.
I was into the concept because we did the Mario Party Jamboree mode with Bowser, right? Where it is like you're playing these on-camera games and it's based on your movement in real life. I think the ideas are fun, but yeah, like it's the thing with video game console like camera iterations going back all the way to the
iToy, baby.
of like, all right, is this gonna work with the lighting? Like, what is going to be the thing that throws this off?
And more than that, it's like, let me just say this.
Yeah.
I'm not buying this thing. You know what I mean? It's like I have no interest in actually getting this camera. But like, I was very impressed with how wide the angle was and how good it was at capturing people, finding faces, and grabbing us. But yeah, it was not opportune situation. But having said that, I was kind of surprised with how well it worked. I just don't think that many core gamers necessarily are going to be like running out to buy this. But I think for all the game chat integration and stuff they're talking about, like that's going to serve an audience. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that get really into that stuff. Like, I think this was a wise call from Nintendo to do. Having that extra USB slot on the top, never would have expected it would be for a camera that Nintendo is selling. But yeah. I mean, we should probably talk price, right? $450.
Yeah.
Not shocked by that price. Higher than I expected, but still in the realm of where I thought we might end up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, same. Honestly, I kept going back and forth between is it going to come out at $400? Is it going to come out at $500? I think $450 kind of hits where I did expect, and based on the features we got, right? Like, when I go through the list, I think I'm with you of like, man, I wish it was OLED, but I also didn't really expect the OLED at the same time. So when I go through and we got way better storage than we did in the previous one, we got Cyberpunk running pretty well on this thing, right? Like overall, as a hardware package, I'm not mad at the price considering where we're at right now with handhelds.
Getting my hands on it, seeing the screen, seeing all of that, like I look at this and I'm like, that price seems reasonable. Like that, I understand where the money's going and all of that. The software side of things,
that's a conversation.
That's a different conversation.
That's a different conversation.
That's not what this video is. We're talking about hardware here. Quick shout out, I want to give Amiibo support still.
Yeah.
That was something that I feel like a lot of the leaks and rumors were like, oh, we're probably ditching that, but new Amiibo are coming out, so that'll still be supported. We saw the box art of a lot of this stuff. I hate it. I'm just gonna say it. I hate how much of the top of it's taken up by the red logo stuff. It's like I know they want to differentiate, but not my fave.
Yeah,
not my fave.
I don't think I got to see any of that.
Oh,
I've just seen the logo on the Mariners jerseys. People aren't happy about those.
Right. It's real big. It's
yeah, no, I don't like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dumb Tim nitpick, but I got to do it. Any final hardware thoughts? The magnets. We didn't talk about the magnets.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about the magnets.
God, we have to talk about the magnets.
Oh, that's the most important thing. We almost missed out on that.
Dude, so incredibly impressed with how much they stick. One of my least favorite things about the Switch is how loose the Joy-Cons feel on it.
100%.
And that's true whether it's my old Joy-Cons or when I buy brand new ones and put them on, within 2 days, they feel loose. These aren't loose, man.
You know what? When I said premium at the top of this, I think that was specifically the thing that really stuck out the most in terms of that feel, right? Like it felt sturdy, and I'm so used to my Switch One not feeling sturdy in the way that you're talking about. And when you clap on the Joy-Con 2 onto the Switch 2, right? Like it claps on there. You don't even press a button to clap it on, right?
Nope.
The magnets automatically connect it, and then you press the magnet to kind of like plop it off. I think the one thing in terms of feel is that it does feel like a plop.
Yeah.
When you take it off, which is fine. Like, I'm not mad at it. Like, do what you gotta do.
It's a little limp.
It's a little limp. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, I have some gusto when I'm taking this thing off, but it's fine.
It's so funny because that is the dumbest complaint of all time.
Yeah.
But you
feel
right,
what
dude.
I'm saying,
You're
though.
so right, man. Yeah. But otherwise, like, it feels so sturdy, like surprisingly sturdy. So I love that. I think it's great implementation. I'm excited to see where it goes in the future. But yeah, man, I think also, I guess just talking about hardware, there was no new Joy-Cons. Right, whether shown or anything that we got to look at colors-wise.
Color-wise, yeah.
It was just those two. So we'll see what else is out there. We got to see the case. Oh my God, sorry. I know I'm going a little long on this because we have a bunch of these to do. I got to talk about the GameCube controller.
Oh, talk about it.
Just a little, because we're going to talk more in a GameCube Gamescast. But I got to play extensively with it. I can't believe after all these years, we're finally going to get a real Nintendo GameCube controller that is wireless with rumble. We had the Wavebird back in the day. We've had many iterations of different Smash controllers or whatever, but they were always wired. I'm just really happy about this. It felt great. It has additional buttons that are great in all the Switch stuff. So the home button, the new C button for the chat thing, but also it finally has an L1 button. Which has been lacking from the
just
GameCube
the L,
controllers.
right?
Yeah, so you can use it as just a Pro controller
Can
for
I tell
any
you,
game.
that broke my brain. Like, there was a point where I was like, oh, how do I get, hop out to game selection or whatever? And they're like, oh, press the L. And I looked and I was like, that's not right.
Yeah,
That doesn't exist.
Yeah, GameCube controller still feels light as ever. It still has the triggers just still have that nice little like springy bounce to them. Big fan. Can't wait for more.
Heck yeah.
But stay tuned because we're going to be doing a whole bunch more previews of stuff. We're going to talk Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We're going to talk Mario Kart World.
Yep.
We're going to talk about a whole
Donkey
bunch
Kong.
of it. Oh my God,
Donkey
Kong. Bananarama. What's it called?
Bonanza.
But the banana. You know what I mean? It's not Bonanza with it's banana with an A, baby.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway, stay tuned. We're about to do a whole bunch more of these. It's going to be great. Follow on YouTube, listen on podcasts, do all the great things. I love you all. Goodbye.